I was to say everything just shut off.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Talk Our Way Out podcast. Nothing happened. We have no technical difficulties.
We didn't just film 10 minutes without the recorder recording.
Yeah.
No, we did not.
You guys are lucky. You guys missed Kyle. He had his fucking mic backwards. He set it up on his own.
I'm supposed to get away with it. This is behind the
dumbass.
scenes. We're not supposed to do that.
So we're just going to go ahead and try and re-say everything that we just said and have really nice first-time impressions and expressions.
That's sad. I'm like, like the wind's kind of taken out of me a little bit, but
I know. I'm choked on that.
But you know what? We're delivering the current events today, so we'll give you the fucked up news anyway. So just to rehash the story that I said 5 minutes ago, dude in Washington, daughter gets human trafficked. He finds his daughter and finds out that her 19-year-old boyfriend is responsible. So what's this guy do? He knocks this guy over the head with a cinder block, stabs his ass and sticks him in a trunk, drives a car out to the middle of nowhere in the bush and leaves it. And no one found him for a year.
Wow, you don't say.
And I'm just like, man, this guy just messed this guy up. He was off the hook for a year. Obviously, he's probably going to jail now. I think I saw that it was like $1 million bond, which like I get it. But the question was, do we all have the capacity in some way to be murderous should the person we love life be at stake? And Kyle, what was your opinion?
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. If that was me and I had the same skills as Liam Neeson and I could chase down my daughter that got sex trafficked and find out who did it, all of them get to die.
That
and
dude's dead.
I won't even kill them. I'll put them in the trunk and stab them like he did and leave them until they could just die slow.
He's going to leave
Just
that trunk
leave
in
them.
his driveway just so every time he leaves, he's like, yeah.
Yeah,
Take
I'll
your
drive
fight.
by, take a
Blood
look,
slowly pouring
be
out.
like, as long as I can hear a little thud coming from it, be like, satisfaction.
Kyle
No,
Wick.
100%. I've even like having a kid now. Just I'm sure you can relate. When you first because my kid's now two and a half, and she can kind of run around. And when we go to like the ball field, we play beer league softball. But all the other kids, they all group together. They go run around, play. But they kind of start getting a little bit further. And the first couple times, you're like, do I want to be that helicopter? Do I want to be right on their ass while they're doing this, or let them go? And like you see somebody kind of walk closer, you're like, what do I need to do? If they get to this point, what am I willing to do? Even if they might not be doing something wrong, like, do I go talk to them? If they touch their arm, do I throw a rock at them? Like, what do I do here? Like, what? So, in the facet of this actually did happen, your child is taken, and you now have to decide what you're gonna do. All bets are off. Like, I'm gonna give up the rest of my life as long as I can get my kid back. Go to jail, it's acceptable, and you're not gonna go to jail and they're gonna be like, oh, what'd you do? Well, I killed a sex trafficking ring and a guy that sold my daughter. They're gonna be like, okay, here's some free noodles. Like, we're not gonna fuck with you. You're a pretty good guy. I'm in for it.
Kyle's been watching these jail shows, and he's
Yeah.
been seeing what their currency is just in case this happens. He's ready to go. He
Yo.
already knows what kind of like business he's gonna start. Like, he's already ready.
Smokes and noodles.
Yeah, I've got
That's how
all
you
the
get by in
ramen.
jail.
I got those wrap snacks.
Speaking of jail shows, there's this show on Netflix right now. I think it's called like Jailbirds or something, and I watched like a little bit of it. Yo, these motherfuckers talk through the toilet, and like that's like their Tinder. They like you do this procedure where you like you have to like scoop all the water out of the toilet bowl, and then you can like put like a cup to the toilet, and you can just like talk into it. And as long as someone else has done the same thing, they can hear you through the echo because all the toilets are all on top of each other, so they can hear each other. And so you can talk to the dude that lives above you. And because the women's prison and the men's prison, I guess, are like just like on top of each other. Literally, these chicks are like meeting boyfriends.
That sounds stupid.
Yo, girl, let me hear that ass.
That's literally what it is. That's literally it. And dude, the best part is the sassiest fucking I'm done with you hang up. You just flush the fucking toilet. You just, fuck you. Flush the toilet. They're done. That's you.
See, there's
up.
a reason
Sit
I don't
down
watch
and give
TV.
a little fart.
That just sounds so stupid.
I like
Yeah.
the recaps. Like it's like It's like watching baseball. You don't watch a full game. You watch the recap. You see, okay, these 5 people made hits. Okay, I enjoyed
I like
that
the
game.
highlight reels.
Yeah.
Didn't
I
didn't something happen in the NFL?
Hey, Matt
Yes.
pretending like we didn't already tell him that too.
No, this is
Just
off
trying
the
to keep
cuff.
things going.
Off the cuff.
Speaking of jail, Henry Ruggs. Poor Henry Ruggs. I don't want to say poor Henry Ruggs because he's actually kind of an asshole. As Kyle was saying, he went to jail, or he's going to be going to jail. Kyle, so you want to give us those details again?
Yeah, so basically on Monday, Henry Ruggs was in a car accident where he was under the influence. He had illegal firearms on him. Apparently going about 156 miles per hour, which how the fuck do you even get to that speed? Where like I
A
don't
lot
know
of
where.
cocaine.
Yeah, you gotta be just dumb. And he hit a lady and her dog and killed her. So he's getting charged with a DUI with ending with a result of death.
Wow.
And the big thing out of this for me is like you have millions of dollars. There is like when you bought your car that is capable of going 156, why did you not buy a driver? Like if you want to go wild, you're 22, you're in the NFL, you can do anything you want at any moment. Why are you also driving? Like
I feel like there's two kinds of people when it comes to cars, and it's either you want to go fast or you want to get driven, kind of thing, right? And it's either
I
you
want
want to
somebody
ride the
else to drive
horse or you
fast.
want to ride the carriage.
And he had his girl in the passenger seat too, so her life
Wow.
has also changed.
mm.
But yeah, maybe they were on a date. They were golfing, I heard that night.
Huh.
He played for the Las Vegas Raiders in the NFL. Obviously, they released his ass.
Yeah.
That rip, end of that. You know what? I feel the most bad for the woman that died and her family. Obviously, it's not even a hot take. Obviously, that's the person that really lost in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, where was he driving? Like, was this like on the outskirts or was it right through town? Or
I assume he was on the highway. I
okay.
didn't see the exact location,
huh?
Yeah.
but
That's insane.
you feel bad that it happened, and like he clearly 22 millionaire yet again. He's just caught up in I'm untouchable. I've got more than I've ever had. I'm gonna do the same shit I was doing when I was 15, but now I can afford to do it in a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's like when you have that profile, you can't make bullshit decisions like that. Especially
Mhm.
you go golfing, and then you're like, let's wild out. Like no, you just went golfing, old man. Like calm down.
He's
You don't
got to
need to
try and
go
impress
crazy.
the girl.
Yeah.
Like that was super boring.
It was tough too because I saw like so Derek Carr, he's a quarterback for the Raiders. Obviously, the quarterback and receivers have like a strong relationship, and he's just like talking about how like he was literally texting him that night, and he was like, yeah, like talking about his golf swing, just like talking like boys do, and then he wakes up in the morning and finds out that's how the night ended.
Wow.
Like what a shitty way to piss away your career, piss away such an opportunity in your life, and
Yeah, that's
will
really
he
crazy, man.
ever be able to bounce back from that? I don't know.
Probably not. Like that's your
Well, I
life
mean-
is ruined.
I mean, Michael Vick went to jail for dog fighting, and he came back and was NFL Comeback Player of the Year. So
I mean, I feel like
It-
the difference between killing someone and fighting with your dog is a little bit different, though.
You're
Like,
right.
people can look past
You're
like a
right.
dog
This
fight.
is the NFL though. There is many things they can look past.
Yeah, if you're good, you're good.
Like how fast is your 40? That's what matters in the NFL. So,
Oh,
but he
no.
might be gone for a long time. And in the NFL, there isn't many guaranteed contracts. I don't know what his was, but I'm assuming he's
like-
losing most of his money.
OJ was a football player, wasn't he?
Mhm.
Did he play after?
I mean,
He was too-
I think he was retired when
Oh,
he stabbed
okay.
a bitch. Allegedly.
Yeah,
But the thing too, the NFL, the only X factor too is you don't know what they're gonna punish and what they're not. Because on one side, you can beat your woman and come back to the league, and then you can also be Ray Rice and beat your woman and never come back to the league. Or you could also stand up to racial injustice and never come back to the league. Colin Kaepernick, I'm sorry, my friend. That just happens. You don't know what they're gonna punish, but they just do. So,
Interesting.
will he have a second chance?
I just hope that he's able to just be a normal person. Just like kind of take this as this is the worst thing I could possibly do. Whatever's going to happen to me, I kind of deserve it. And then kind of grow from there and hopefully
Yeah.
just be
Yeah,
able
see,
to get
that's
peace
like
with themselves.
the
eventually.
dad who killed his daughter's boyfriend deserves to be in jail, but I understand that.
Mhm.
This guy just murdering someone because he was too drunk, he deserves to stay in jail. That's my
Yeah.
opinion. He doesn't deserve to be a football player after that.
From what I see, it sounds like max sentence is 15 years, but they're thinking he'll probably get like 3 to 6.
Yeah,
And
probably, man.
And if that's the case, dude's still gonna be in his 20s when he's released. He's got a long life to live.
That's fucked.
So can
Like,
he?
that's actually fucked up.
Yeah.
You just go out, get drunk, you're a millionaire, murder someone, a couple of years in jail, you're back out. It's like, well, that was fun.
That's the
That was
thing.
an experience.
Still in his 20s. Could he still be athletic? He probably would still be capable.
Yeah, all you're going to do is work out when you're in jail.
And like I said, you never know what the NFL is gonna do. But
Man, if that were me, I would put all my money into fucking Bitcoin or Ethereum or something. Just let it stay, and I'll be in jail for a couple of years. I come
honestly,
back, you're a
can
billionaire.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Actually, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
Speaking
man.
of crypto, did you hear about the Squid Game currency?
Don't get me started.
Okay, so quick recap. Actually, I'm gonna read it to you because I want to get these details right. This is so funny to
Yeah.
me. Kyle posted this
And
the
a
other.
little caveat before we start.
Yeah.
I think Matt said this a while back. If you are just looking to invest and just throw money wherever, just go to Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yeah.
Do not play around.
If
People are smarter than you and have more money than you. They will take your money.
Yeah, it's a fine line between like, okay, what does that token do? Do you know anything about it? Or is it just a lot of people talking about it right now? Okay, if a lot of people are talking about it right now, be prepared to lose that money literally the next day. So if you're willing to take that risk, okay, go ahead. Let's hear this.
Okay, so everyone knows the Squid Game came out and it's the biggest show in the world right now.
I am over it.
Anyways, unrelated to Squid Game, the Squid crypto coin was not officially affiliated with Squid Game.
Yeah, not at all.
Anyone who has visited the squidgame.cash, now defunct, or Reddit's Twitter, also dead, and bought Squid, wasn't able to sell it on crypto exchange Pancake Swap, even as its value rose from $38 to $2,861 in a week.
Yeah.
And the the launched and vanished. The creators of this coin, whose identities are unknown, pulled out the rug on investors and pocketed $3.3 million, and they're gone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So this is like, so when the first crypto hype of like 2017 and 2018, when Bitcoin first had that big parabolic run, it was the exact same story, just with different types of coins, of people, anonymous people investing in random coins and people just making coins. Like, we can go out and make a coin right now. We can create a Talk Our Way Out podcast fucking coin and just see what happens, right? Like, it's that easy. You can just copy and paste literal code from GitHub and make an actual working coin. But yeah, so
Wild.
then with that, there's just, as soon as you can get enough hype behind something, people start investing, and everyone's talking about Squid Games. So it's like, oh, a fucking Squid coin? Hell yeah. Of course people are going to invest in that because no one knows what they're actually looking into. Everyone just hears these hype words and it's like, oh, that sounds neat. Oh, that thing has a picture of a dog. That sounds neat. And it's just, it's all fucked, man. Like, if you don't know what the token actually does, or if you don't know what it will do in the future, you have to really question, okay, what am I putting my money into? Am I just throwing it into a black hole?
That's wild to me.
You can kind of see the evolution in the scams though, because with FaZe Clan, they like a couple of them got caught and they were getting charged with it because they said this was a coin that was gonna do this. The Squid Game one, they never officially said it was affiliated to Squid Game.
Yeah.
They basically said we were gonna do the game, but it just didn't end up working out. So we're gonna sell our coin, and you guys can do whatever you want with yours. At that point, everybody's like, okay, well, there's no value. I'm going to sell a coin that has no game attached to it
Yeah.
for thousands of dollars. No, it's going to be pennies now.
Yeah, there's a subtle difference between like a legit scam and a rug pull, right?
Yeah.
Because like a rug pull is a scam, but they didn't do anything. You were just the fucking idiot who invested in this fucking token that does nothing because you thought everyone else was doing it, right? It
That's
has,
wild.
yeah, and it's like a lot of it has to do with like how Doge just kind of launched, and now Shiba Inu is just taking off right now because it's the next Doge. Like everyone's fucking talking about it, right?
It's got a cute dog on the cover. What do you mean, Matt?
Yo.
Tell
They
us
took
about
the
Shiba.
same dog.
Tell us about Shiba Inu, Matt.
I got some notes on Shiba.
Matt's triggered about this whole thing.
So if
I
anyone's
love
heard
it.
in the news, just recently there was someone who made $5.6 billion or something like that from an $8,000 investment on Shiba Inu. So everyone's been talking about that for the last little while. Dustin was actually the person who kind of introduced me to this one wallet. So the cool thing about crypto is you don't need to know anyone, but everything is verifiable. You can check these transactions. So my first thought was, this is bullshit. Like, no, it's just literally not possible.
Literally what Matt said to me, bullshit. I was like, I don't know. That's just what I heard.
You're wrong.
Yeah. So I literally, I looked up the actual transaction history of Shiba Inu, and I looked through this, and I found all the research, and I found the wallet that was actually holding this $5.6 billion worth of Shiba. So sure enough, yeah, this motherfucker invests a couple $1,000. It was just over 400 days ago, under 500, and makes 5.6 billion. So that's insane, right? That's insane. So there was a couple of other things that were happening in the news. Like when it was first launched, they gave like a couple 100 trillion tokens to Vitalik. I'm saying that wrong, but he's like the co-founder of Ethereum, right? And it was like a publicity stunt where they're like, here, if you like Doge, which is its own thing, you'll love this Shiba because it's under the Ethereum network. Mm-hmm. And he ended up donating, I think, all of it, and it ends up being like $1 billion that went to like a relief fund out in India, which is like that was pretty cool. But it was a publicity stunt from the creators of Shiba just to get the name up there. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, I've been following this wallet ever since. Like, it's like, yo, this motherfucker, you can't just all of a sudden make that much money and have a very illiquid market and expect to be able to pull that money out and not affect the market.
See, that's what's wild to me. You're basically telling me he made all this money, but he might never actually, like, unless he tries some sneakiness, he might not be able to even sell it and actually take that profit.
Yeah, because if you launch out, or if you pull out a large amount of your funds all at once, that's going to affect the market. Like that's like people are going to get afraid of that, and they're going to take a price lower than the market value, which is then going to make the actual price drop farther. That's just how the market works.
But if he sells at that peak point, doesn't he just sell at that peak point and everyone after him's fucked?
He can try and sell as much as possible, but it's going to crash the market. There's not
so he can't sell it all in one
because there's only
thing.
So many people buying tokens. So if he has more to sell than people have to buy, there's going to be a break in the market where those last bit of buyers are going to be accepting an even the way the market works is depending on how many sellers and how many buyers there are at any given time.
Okay.
So if there are way more sellers than there are buyers, the sellers are going to do whatever they can in order to make sure that they can sell. So that means they're going to sell at a lower price. As soon as the price gets lower, there's going to be more buyers because more buyers are going to go, oh, there's a discount. I'm going to buy this coin now. So if there's a huge amount more sellers than buyers, it'll crash the market because in order to sell that many tokens, you have to sell it at a lower price in order for people to buy it. So it's just like the market is its own living entity, basically, right?
So it's kind of like a risk. Like if he goes for it and tries to sell, then he either somehow pulls it off.
Yeah.
Or the more likely scenario, he sells a portion of it, then fucks the rest of it, and he's back to having no money.
So, yeah. So we can, he is, just to be clear, he's the number 2 Shiba holder. Like out of all of the wallets, he owns the second most. So he has, over the last couple of days, or last week basically, he's been transferring out about 10 trillion tokens at a time to various wallets, which is equal to about $650 million each. So he's got a few different wallets that he's transferred out into, and he's trying to disperse his amount so that he can then use those wallets to more than likely split that up into smaller amounts. And then he's going to try and start selling each one off little bits at a time, maybe 1 week or 1 month at a time, so that it doesn't affect the market so much. Mm-hmm. So that he's only selling into certain buyers, and then he waits for more buyers to come, right?
Is it possible for him to, because like you were showing me before, like you can swap tokens for other tokens. Is it possible for him to swap his super valuable tokens for something else and sell in that market instead?
It's still technically the same thing, especially within the Ethereum network. The way it actually works is if I have Shiba and then I have, let's say, MakerDAO, let's just another Ethereum coin. I don't believe in MakerDAO. I think it's a good coin. I don't hold any of it, but it's just the first one I could think of. So if I want to trade one coin for the other, the way the actual exchange works, like if you go onto Uniswap, which is a decentralized exchange, you trade them, but what's actually happening in the background is that Shiba gets traded into Ethereum or potentially wrapped Ethereum, and then that wrapped Ethereum gets traded back into whatever coin you want. So there's something happening in the background, but then on the foreground, you don't really notice that because you don't need to know anything about that. You don't need to understand the background mechanics of how the tokens transact with each other.
So by trading it for another coin versus trading it
It's
for $1,
still selling it.
You're still selling it. It
Yeah.
doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. So you're still selling it for a specific value, and then that value is able to purchase a different type of token.
Strange.
Yeah, so
So he's got to play the long game. if
yeah,
he wants-
he more than likely he probably contacted some very wealthy people trying to figure out how the best way to get rid of this. Like he's probably
How do I liquidate all of this?
exactly, yeah. So there's more than likely a hedge fund that's probably involved at this point that are willing to take a certain percentage and pay him to figure something out. Like there's probably going to be more marketing for Shiba now, and it's probably going to be funded by him, which is pure speculation. But if I had $5 billion and I needed to get it out,
Yeah.
I'm gonna find someone who has a lot of money who can fund marketing to make this coin sound even better. Which it's in the news right now. Maybe the reason
Yeah.
everyone knows about this wallet is because he's trying to figure out how to get rid of it, right? So
Jeez.
Speaking of manipulating a
Conspiracies.
market, have you? I don't know.
I'm
if
not
you
even
guys have
done with
noticed-
this, but
Oh, you're
I want to hear more.
Okay, I'll be real quick. Little pin. We'll be
'Cause
right
I have
back
more.
into it.
I
We'll
have
be
more.
right back into it. But I don't know if do you guys ever watch like just regular TV or is
No.
it only
No.
streaming? Okay,
Who has
So,
cable anymore, Kyle? What
I
the
watch
fuck?
it
Old
for
people.
sports. I watch it for like NBA games.
Okay.
That's about it. But so I'm noticing Amazon is in the news as like the best place to work. They're hiring more people. They give all these extra benefits. All
Sounds like a
the
lie to me.
yeah. There's like an ad where a guy's like, oh, like I really need to. I'm looking forward to getting my tuition paid, like all of it, to start working here. And like, yeah, we accept any hours. Like probably 6 months ago, all anybody talked about with Amazon is how they treat their workers like slaves.
Yeah.
They're underpaid. They're not allowed breaks. They time how fast they get everything done.
Yeah,
This is how you see kind of like the high end guys like Jeff Bezos has so much money that he's now like, oh shit, people don't like me. Okay, I'm gonna switch the narrative. I have enough money to tell the news. This is what you're gonna say now, and I have all these ads.
all
Amazon's
just
a great
marketing,
place
man.
to work now. It took 6 months and literally no changes,
yeah.
and now
It's
we're great.
whoever just has the most money, right?
Yeah.
It's, you can
Wild.
just kind of market whatever you want.
It's crazy to think that like people's perception can just change that fast if you have enough influence.
Yeah.
That is absolutely wild to me.
Okay, so I'm not done shitting on Shiba.
Shitting on
Shitting
Shiba.
on
Hey.
Shiba.
Yeah, because okay, so it is the
Timestamp
third
that.
most searched crypto term this year, with 2.8 million searches on average per month this year. So to put that into perspective, Bitcoin has 20 million searches a month, and Ethereum has in number 2 spot has 6.8 million searches. So it's really hot. Like everyone's talking about it, right? If you dig a little bit deeper, like I was trying to do a bunch of research. So Edward Snowden, if anyone gives a shit about him, and then Michael Burry, who is the guy from behind like The Big Short, they're both pretty against this coin because again, it's just pure hype and people are wasting their money. So then off the record, Coinbase, which is a pretty big exchange, was even recorded basically saying it's a bad investment because it's just got so many tokens out there that it's a ridiculous thing. So if anyone doesn't even know, Shiba has 1 quadrillion tokens like that'll be made, which is just insane. To put
Yeah.
that into perspective again, Bitcoin has 21 million tokens that'll ever be made.
And they're in the quadrillion.
Yeah, so they have 1 quadrillion tokens.
That's
so
absurd.
yeah, so the point of Bitcoin is like there's only going to be 21 million, and it's just going to get more or harder and harder to acquire as time goes on. If this thing actually stays here for a long time, if you don't own some by now, it's going to just keep getting harder and harder to own. And the earlier you own it, the more you get rewarded for it because it's just designed to be deflationary and get more valuable over time. So having something with 1 quadrillion tokens, who the fuck cares? Like it's an insane number.
That's wild.
I think that was something similar, just with the numbers that you're saying. I know in Germany after the war, because their money lost all of its value because they were obviously shit on by everybody after that. They basically had to keep creating money, and it was worth nothing in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's like
so like to go buy a loaf of bread, they'd fill up a wheelbarrow and carry
that's
their money.
like
to go buy
Zimbabwe
for
that
it.
happened.
Yeah.
Everyone was a millionaire in Zimbabwe because you needed a fucking $1 million for a loaf of bread. It's insane. It's hyperinflation, right? But yeah, so like the top 10 wallets hold 72% of this token. So that screams centralization. Like that screams the top 10 people who own this own 72% of it.
That's
so
scary.
a large majority of the people are like controlling it.
Yeah.
So the top wallet alone, the top number one wallet owns 41% of it. That's insane. One
That's scary.
person owns almost half of all of it. So owns half a quadrillion tokens. So then the number two, this guy, he owns 7% of it. And that's insane.
So the fact that 7% was like 6 billion or whatever, and this guy's got 41%,
Yeah.
he ain't actually ever seeing that money.
Yeah, I don't know, unless they're probably the top 10 people are probably working together to figure out ways to market to make it look like it's a valuable project that's going to last a long time, right? Where
Trying to keep people invested as they're trying to de-invest.
Yeah. So with that being said, like I literally just got a notification today on Wealthsimple and Shiba's being listed there. So there will more than likely, because as soon as it pumped, it was like past Doge and everyone's talking like, oh, it's in the top 10%. It's been going down ever since. But now that it's getting listed on really easy to acquire exchanges, it'll probably have another pump. And this is going to be the pump where the people who have no idea what's going on and they just hear this thing in the news about a week ago and they're like, oh, I heard about that thing. And now I can buy it right here. Yeah. So they're going to invest in this thing. So there will more than likely be a small pump again. And then as soon as that happens, these people who own the big amounts, that's their opportunity because there's going to be more buying power. More buyers mean sellers can sell at a better profit. So we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see.
It's yet again the people that have the money on top are able to play this long game where they're like,
Yeah.
I own 40% of nothing.
Yeah.
The value is really nothing until I sell.
The longer you
I
can
just have
make
to
it last.
convince everybody else that it's going to be worth it for them.
Yeah.
And like people like us where we're like, I'm going to throw 100 in. I'm like really feeling myself. And then it's like, oh shit. It's
Well,
worth
see,
zero.
the problem is too, because even when the market was hot a couple of months ago during the summer, there was like Safe Moon and I think Doge, that's when it was popping off too. And again, I knew multiple friends were like, well, I know it's probably a scam, but I mean, I'll just throw in $10 or I'll just throw in $20. But that's what everyone's thinking, right? So these people at the top are making millions of dollars because there's millions of people throwing in $20 at a time kind of thing, right? And just seeing what happens. It's like, yeah,
It's
you
like-
can play that game, but
It's like going to an ATM and paying a $2.50 fee. It doesn't feel like anything to you, but somebody owns that ATM.
yeah, the banks are making
They're
killer,
getting-
right?
or you have an insufficient funds, $5 payment.
Yeah.
Everybody has that once in a while, and that's a fuckload of money somebody's getting.
Yeah. So I could go on and on, but I'm gonna finish it there. So just if you don't know anything about crypto, actually do some research. Just read into it a little bit. Try and figure out why it's around. Look into Bitcoin. Look into Ethereum. Find out what they're doing, and then figure out everything else about the other coins. And you're gonna find out that it's either they're trying to compete with Ethereum or they're trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist. So you need to ask yourself, do you think that problem's going to happen, or is it just hype? And that's my take.
Damn. Drop the mic.
Yeah.
So back to YouTube land. You
Hey.
see our favorite Paul brothers. They're back.
Ew.
They're back in the news.
Wastemans.
Jake Paul is signed up to fight Tommy Fury. He's gonna fuck him up because Tommy Fury.
Who is Tommy Fury?
So I don't know if either of you have heard of Tyson Fury. He's
Oh,
a heavyweight
yeah.
boxer of the world,
Is
possibly
that
the
like Mike
best.
Tyson?
No. He's the next person I'm bringing up, but this is Tyson Fury's younger brother. He was on Love Island, I believe.
Oh,
He was
God.
he's just ripped, huge guy, but he's not the greatest boxer, but he comes from a boxing family. He's like an amateur still. And his last fight, he doesn't look like a world beater, and it's gonna be really bad for him to lose to a YouTuber with
Oh,
like a
no.
super famous name.
Oh no.
But the other fight is Logan Paul with aforementioned Mike Tyson. They're signed up to fight each
I
other.
see.
That's
I don't know.
so
I've heard about
dumb.
that a couple of times, and every time I hear Mike Tyson's perspective, he's always like, "Yeah, it's full of shit. I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
like,
well,
it's like
they
I'd
signed
fucking
to
literally
fight.
kill him."
That's the thing is that they signed to fight in February,
Hmm.
and most likely it is. But it's kind of the way I look at it is Logan Paul is taking it serious when people ask how much would you need to get paid to get punched in the face by Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Like everybody's asked that question growing up because he's the guy that if you get in a ring, there's a good chance you die. And Logan Paul is like, well, 30 million. You pay me 30 million, I'll fight Mike Tyson.
yeah.
And it shows kind of the difference in the two brothers as well, is that Logan Paul just fought Floyd Mayweather, who he was never going to beat him. He knew it. Everybody knew it. But
it's
he's
just
going to make the
publicity.
money, and he's young enough to keep going. He's a good enough boxer to last the entire fight. But now he's going to Mike Tyson, who yet again, he's not like, oh, I'm going to beat up Mike Tyson. I'm going to win this fight. It's like, no, I'm going to get the most eyes on me and the most money right now. Whereas Jake Paul, he's slowly fighting better and better fighters to the point now he's fighting an actual boxer.
Well, it sounds like he's just a fucking washed up asshole.
Which one?
The Fury guy?
Well, he's only 20. He's in his 20s. Like he's
Okay.
around the same
Well,
time.
He's not washed up because he never was.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I'm like, he was on a reality TV show.
He's at the exact. He's at pretty much the same level as Jake Paul, as in they're both amateurs. He has way more boxing fights. He hasn't fought anybody that's. He had, I think, 3 of his fights were against people that had never won, like 0 and 113. Like that's how boxing goes. They throw fish at people so that they get to 20-0, and then they start putting real fights in front of them. But it's interesting because nothing else is happening in boxing. And this is specifically...
I heard a pretty interesting take from it where these brothers are being really smart about it because they found a sport. They niched down in a sport that isn't really being talked about, that's been going on for a long time. And now all of a sudden they're making huge headlines because everyone's like, oh, boxing, I know that thing. And the Jake Paul and Logan Paul, holy crap, I know them too.
Yeah.
So everyone's watching it right now, right? So
they realize it's a glitch in the system because literally anybody can box, but it's scary as hell to get into a boxing ring. And these guys are like, well, I've been making millions for the last 10 years. I can train every day if I want to. They're both athletes. Like they were wrestling. Logan Paul was a wrestler in college. So they know that they can handle the punishment. They've been famous for like 10, 15 years. So they're not scared of the spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the easiest sport to kind of learn and just introduce yourself to. And there's nobody else in it. Like I said, Tyson Fury is the only other person anybody talks about. Deontay Wilder, because he can knock people out, but he's clearly not the best anymore. I could name 5. No, I couldn't. I could maybe name 2 other boxers in the entirety of boxing.
I know Mike Tyson.
Yeah, and he's not even a boxer anymore. Like he's an old man that just takes shrooms all day.
Yeah,
and that's the most famous boxer right now. So yet again, to everybody that I've talked to, boxing is dead. It's never coming back. It's only here until Logan and Jake Paul stop boxing.
Interesting. I definitely see it as like Floyd. He's a businessman first, boxer second. So he went the whole 9 rounds or 10 rounds or he went the whole thing because that's more publicity, more people, more viewing time, right? He wants to make the money. Mike Tyson, he's gonna fucking try and kill him in the first hit. Yeah. He's like, I don't give a shit about this kid. Like I'm gonna fucking murder this child. That's what I really think.
It'll be a fun one because obviously with Floyd's never been a knockout artist. Yeah. So and he's way smaller.
He's a con artist.
Yeah, he's way smaller than Jake.
He's way smaller. Yeah. Mike Tyson is a big boy.
Yeah. He's old, but...
He is in his 50s, but he's still Mike Tyson.
I saw some videos of him, though, looking like he's been juicing lately, though.
Oh, yeah.
I could imagine. They signed the contract in February, and he's like, I got, 8 months to just get shredded.
Juice up and just come back and wreck this guy?
Yeah.
I don't know. See, the thing is I part of me still thinks, like, he's pretty old. Will he have any in the tank? Because these guys don't take dangerous fights. They only take safe fights. Yeah. So far, every fight they've taken has been super safe, regardless of how much it's hyped one way or another. So I don't know, man. Like the thing too, like people don't really talk about so much because it's, Jake and Logan have taken this boxing thing and ran with it. But this whole YouTuber boxing thing started with KSI. Yeah. And Logan lost to KSI.
Oh.
KSI is a superior boxer, and you thought Logan versus Jake. Logan's way bigger than Jake, so you'd imagine that Logan's probably a tougher fight than Jake. But Jake seems more clean, more polished, so who knows? KSI's been wanting to fight Jake. Why that fight hasn't happened? Probably because not many people would care about YouTuber versus YouTuber.
It doesn't make money.
But, YouTuber versus Mike Tyson or Floyd Mayweather or some of these other like professional athletes, like that's bringing in people's pay-per-view numbers.
They're not trying to be the best boxers. They're just trying to get publicity. Like it's pure numbers game, right? Like
I think the Jake Paul one, I think it also comes down to he's trying to become a boxer So if he goes back to YouTube, like fighting another YouTuber, then people look, oh, of course he's just fighting a YouTuber. And if he loses to a YouTuber, he'll then, yet again, the goalpost will be moved. Oh, you're a boxer and you lost to a YouTuber. He's not a YouTube versus YouTube anymore.
Exactly.
But when you're talking about views, that'd be the final one. If him and KSI fight for like his final boxing thing, it's gonna have the most views out of any of their fights. Yeah. Like even just Logan Paul and KSI, they had their big grudge match and they fought and he lost all the time. But they had a podcast together and it's their most watched on both their channels that they've had like in years.
Was this before or after the fight?
This is like 3 or 4 months ago. So it was a couple years after.
Yeah, way after.
Okay.
So one way or another, they're getting views. It doesn't matter what they do. Yeah. Like I've seen videos of them flipping pancakes and it's got hundreds of thousands of views. They can do anything right now.
Those guys, man.
And they're choosing to get punched in the face. That is the craziest thing. They're choosing to get in a ring when they could just sit down.
Well,
that's it.
You know, part of me is like, well, they have a history of making poor decisions. But on the other side, they're millionaires and I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
So
I don't think you can say poor in the Paul brothers anymore. They make bad decisions. There's no poor in them. They got too much money for that.
Wow.
Jeez. Kyle would suck their dicks if he could. Oh.
How much money?
Hey, how much money? There we go.
Do you see those PJs they got? I can jump on a private jet. I don't know.
That's hilarious. I've watched a couple of, I've never ever watched any of their videos ever, but I've watched some videos from their editor. So their editor occasionally makes videos on how he makes the videos. He's a pretty good editor. I got to give it to him.
Yeah.
It's like, nice, man. If you had just that much money and you could just, I'll just film all day and just hand it to someone and they turn it into something fun. That'd be nice.
That's a dream for
sure.
Yeah. These guys that are like pro YouTube editors, I'm just like impressed. Because I've tried just the littlest bit of editing and it took so much time and it was such a bitch and I didn't even do anything sophisticated.
That's funny.
And it was so much. And these guys are just like, I've heard about these guys like banging out like 10 videos a week or something. And you're like,
yeah, it's your full-time job at that point. Like you're doing it nonstop,
and
right?
If you're on the payroll with some of the richest YouTubers in the land, you're doing all right.
And
yeah, man.
And this is where, like, for me, I have a problem with always comparing, like, oh, this is what they're doing. Like, how do I get to that point? Oh, wait, they're on episode 1,596. Okay, so I've got 10 years till I have to kind of make that level. Like, I got to make small goals to go there.
10 years and $10 million.
Yeah. The reason that they have a video posted the next day after doing their podcast is they have 10 people editing it while it's going. They have all the thumbnails, everything's made before they're done talking. And then they go to their next meeting. They don't have to worry about that because they've already done the work beforehand. Yeah,
just an entire literal production crew that just follows them around and just makes content. That's their sole purpose, right? I mean, that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
It's a goal. It's a goal.
Yeah. So have you guys heard about this whole thing with Elon Musk? People telling him that he should end world hunger?
I've heard whispers of it.
Okay, yeah. So like there was like this bill or tax proposed of like this billionaire's tax. And I didn't look too much into that, but basically how it came down to was Elon was kind of shitting on it. Of like, like he literally, there was a tweet that he said, I will sell Tesla shares right now for $6 billion because that's there. Someone was asking him to sell like $6 billion from him. It's like, I will sell it right now and give the funds right away if you can answer in this tweet thread how exactly you're going to spend it and how it's going to end world hunger. So I found that pretty funny because on one part, that's like the most troll thing you could possibly say. But I know for sure if someone was able to actually answer that, he would do it. Like that's what I actually think. Like if there was an actual answer where $6 billion solved world hunger, he would do it.
He's a man of the people.
Yeah.
I 100% would believe that as well.
But I really think he was calling them the fuck out because that's just not possible.
And because he knows they're full of shit.
Yeah, so there was a reply from someone from like the UN World Health Organization or something like that. So there was like a 2-minute interview. The guy was only talking for about 1 minute of it. So it's World Food Program Director David Bessel. So in like as soon as he starts talking, he starts off by saying, we can answer all of their questions or all of his questions because we're the largest operation feeding roughly 120 million people worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
So 10 seconds into this, he says, but because of COVID, and he says exactly, it's because of COVID impacting climate change and conflict, we have a one-time crisis with 42 million people starving right now in this moment, and it will cost about over $6 billion. So he's trying to start off by saying, yeah, we can answer any question he has, but this one-time situation, there's 42 million people exactly, and it's going to cost $6 billion just to feed them. So I find that kind of fucked up. And it's just like, and that like, if that was him, the media is saying that this is him answering Elon. So whoever doesn't actually watch this video and investigate it, they're going to go, oh, well, now the ball's in Elon's court. Now he has to sell his shares because they actually answered his question. But they literally were like, yeah, we can answer everything, but just right now, we just can't do it because of this specific, very specific situation. And so we look forward to working with Elon, though.
I feel like they're full of shit because they're basically framing it in a way where they're saying, yeah, you're $6 billion. We could use that right now, but that actually won't solve the problem.
Yeah.
And it's like, because of special circumstances. Like, that just seems like some kind of excuse.
He goes on to saying, he's like, the governments are tapped out and billionaires make so much money. So we're just asking this one time. Please help us. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Just asking this one time my ass. They ask every other day. He's going to donate that money, and in a year, they're going to, after he gets nice publicity, everyone's like, oh my God, Elon, you're such a hero. A year from then, they're going to be like, we need more money.
Yeah,
Who
we
else
need
is
another
gonna
$6
pay?
billion.
Yeah.
So yeah, and like, so I was
like a week.
Yeah, I was looking into it too. So Google says that there's roughly like 690 to 854 million people who go undernourished in the world. And that's like per year. So let's just say it was like $100 billion to feed, $100 billion to potentially feed every single unnourished person every single year. Because if it's going to be, like I had the math here, but I already lost it. But yeah, so 42 million people that'll cost over $6 billion. We can say 100 billion for 1 billion people. But this is so much more about it. Like, we need to understand that if we're trying to feed the undernourished and we're just turning it into this huge tax, like it's less about feeding just the people who need the food. And we need to understand that, okay, more like, why don't we think in the sense of it's going to cost $1 trillion a year to feed every single person on the planet equally, so that it doesn't matter who you are or where you are, food is the one thing that you don't actually have to worry about in life. So, and I feel like until we start thinking in that aspect, and it's always like, well, we need this much to feed the people who need it the most, it's always going to be a problem, right? Because it's always just going to be this thing where we're passing the blame on to someone else. Where until we actually think about the idea that it's going to cost way more to feed everyone on the entire planet, that's when the actual answer is going to come. But it's just this blame game that's been going on for years because it's such an easy topic to bring up.
Yeah,
It just kind of it bugs me.
it's so many people talking about the problem, but not the actual solution or the steps to get there. And I think that's where the question that Elon asked is, it's not about the money. It's not about anything like that. I want to see what you guys actually have planned.
Yeah.
Because I want to go to Mars, and this is my exact plan to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to build this rocket. I'm going to make sure it can come back. I'm going to do this. Now, what's your plan to end where it's to take $6 billion from me and feed 42 million people?
Yeah.
And that's it? You're just feeding them? Are you giving them sandwiches? Are you like building new crops for farmers? What's the actual plan?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was hanging out with a friend of ours, Max, the other day. And, Max is in the finance industry. Obviously, I do restaurants. But we had a little talk about, these high-paying jobs that are out there. And, you could kind of connect that to the dude who just responded to Elon, who's, the CEO, whatever fucking big, huge organization that, obviously he's probably got a nice income, right?
Yeah.
Like, that guy's easily making
donating
six
to
figures.
this company pays for his salary.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of you
Any
need to
government
understand that.
job has a pretty decent pay.
Yeah.
And you can imagine their pension's probably pretty nice. The longer they're in office, or the longer he holds this CEO spot. When he leaves, he'll probably be pretty nice for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And you know, not to say that this is some kind of epiphany that no one's ever thought of, but like, these dudes are just trying to collect a check. There's no problem solving here. He's not trying to solve world hunger. He's trying to do as much as he can to stay in a good positive light so that he holds his position as long as possible without ever solving the problem. Because the moment he solves the problem, the moment that organization doesn't need to exist and he doesn't have a job anymore.
Yeah.
So he just has to hold his position, do enough things, say enough things, get people to keep him in his office. Same with any politician, by the way. Any politician, just try and stay in office as long as possible. And the longer you hold term, the bigger that pension is, and the longer you collect a check.
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck about solving these problems.
Your true mission is basically to get the company paid so that you can take that lump sum and go, okay, this much goes to the CEO so that they can continue to make these big decisions. This much is allotted to try and expand the company itself. And then whatever's left over, that's what feeds all these hungry people. And that's fucked up. Like even the Red Cross, which is supposed to be this big, like a donation organization or something like that, it's been around forever, and it's basically a scam. Like it's fucked. It's absolutely fucked.
Dudes are collecting a check. The moment there's no problems, problem solvers don't have a job, so they're not actually trying to solve problems. It's like, actually, I think a comedian said this or used this premise as a bit. He was talking about, it might have been Bo Burnham, to be honest. I might actually be thinking about Bo Burnham. But he said something about the conflict of interest of people that make rape whistles. It's like you make rape whistles to prevent rape, but you're also trying to sell rape whistles, so you need rape to sell these whistles.
Catch-22.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, that's what these problem solvers are all doing. They're all trying to solve problems, but they need problems to keep a job. And they're just trying to collect a check, because at the end of the day, the moment that they're like, all right, I've been trying to solve world hunger for 22 years. I'm such a great guy. I'm going to go live in Florida. Fuck this.
Yeah.
What? They just wipe their hands and collect a check for the rest of their lives. And all these people are still fucking hungry. And did that motherfucker put all his money into solving world hunger? No.
Yeah.
He just sat on that chair and he preached it. And he collected a fucking check, because that's all they're doing. These people, they all just collect a check. And that's like anybody that works in any of these high-end jobs, like they're just trying to hold that position, because how many people are truly passionate about what they do to the point where they don't want to collect a check?
I feel like the majority of those people all have the same no solicitors sign on their front door. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I don't want it. The irony kills me.
Seriously.
But yeah, we had this talk we hung out the other night. We had this chat, and I swear to God, it seemed like every other minute we're talking about somebody else, some other thing, and it was just like the same conclusion. They're just collecting a check.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the answer to all these dummies that are trying to solve all these problems.
And even to go back to Elon's initial thing was about the tax of billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with all those ideas is that they're already getting taxed, but they have lawyers that figure out loopholes.
Yeah.
So you need to fix the loopholes.
If we
don't need to do, like, they don't pay any taxes.
Yeah.
Because they don't have
if we
to.
talk about that, like if we take it a step back to there, it's like, yeah, it's a very fine line. Because on one side, it's like they're not paying tax because they're using their money efficiently and going in, like stimulating the economy in different ways in a sense, right? But they're saving a lot of fucking money. And like that money could go towards the government so that they could fund certain projects and stuff. But
even that
really
guy
fine line.
the guy that runs the organization for ending world hunger, I'm sure the money that gets sent to them is counted as charity, so that's probably not even taxable.
Oh yeah,
so his check isn't taxable.
Yeah, they're a non-profit organization, right?
So all these guys are making all this money and still complaining that billionaires make this, so we need to tax the rich. Just fix the loopholes. Stop trying to pretend that we need to tax the rich 80%. They're not going to pay it anyway. It's just going to end up coming out. We're going to pay more.
That's why I fully support an entire economic worldwide collapse, man. Like, just like a systemic reset of everything, where we just have to pick up the pieces and go, okay, yeah, so that wasn't working. Let's try this and this and this and just kind of figure it out from there. But the fucking world needs to collapse for that to happen. So we'll see, man.
That's the goal, honestly. Like if I could ever get to Elon Musk amount of influence and money, I'm going Dr. Evil. I'm going sideways
going to
on
the moon.
everybody. I'm gonna make the moon the only livable place.
Yeah.
We're going to Kyle's moon. There'll be a big sign. Every telescope will be able to see it.
That's
Oh,
funny.
no. Man.
That's a good one. Did you guys hear? So Facebook just recently like rebranded. They're Meta now, which is just bullshit. It's a stupid fucking name. But anyway, there's like I could get into a couple other things, but what I just recently read was they recently just announced that they deleted all of their facial recognition software, which is kind of interesting because I find like no one liked it. It's like it's kind of tracking us, right? Like who the hell wants that? But I really feel like there's probably a bigger story to it where they more than likely sold all that data. They can't really, like, they could keep getting more data, but they don't really need it at this point. So they're getting this nice big publicity stunt. They're like, oh, we're on the public side. But it's because they already made as much money as they could off of this facial recognition stuff. Yeah. So, like, more than likely, I can't see them just going, oh, yeah, all of this data, delete. It's like, no, they're just deleting their transaction history of, like, what they've already sold off.
Yeah, they deleted their copy.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it's
Motherfuckers.
out there now, right? Like they started it and it's out there and now they get to be the heroes because they deleted their data and they're for the people. But man.
Snakes in the grass, man. These snakes all over the grass.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like because we just like had this little conspiracy talk and now you're bringing this up, I'm just like, fuck the man.
Well, and okay.
This is where I live.
So
Thank you for entering my home. Fuck the man and conspiracy is where I live at all times.
so there's a lot of like connection between like where Meta and I guess Mark Zuckerberg wants to go and basically the ending of Ready Player One. Because they essentially owned the metaverse in Ready Player One. They were the company that owned all of this, even though like technically someone else built it. They had full control over almost all of it. And that's kind of the role that Mark is playing in this, where there's a lot of stuff happening and there's a lot of decentralization of things happening. There's even like, there's some decentralized like crypto versions of VR worlds where you can spend your own token in there. And that makes a lot of sense, but no one owns it. You can just go there and just live there and it's a free market within this virtual reality. But Mark's trying to own all of that. And he's trying to be the first to market and he's trying to be the standard unit that people just transact online before anyone really has any idea of how bad centralization actually is, right? So there's some pretty fucked up dystopian vibes to
like,
it.
does he need more money?
When you have that much money, I mean, what like your only goal is how much more money can I get?
I think it might be a combo of more money, but more so of kind of changing the narrative about him. Because like
For sure,
like if you
yeah.
were to use the Ready Player One kind of narrative, the guy that created it was a loser. He wasn't somebody that had like a ton of friends. Nobody really liked him. He wasn't personable. He couldn't really hold a proper conversation. Mark Zuckerberg's clearly a robot. He
Yeah.
can't show
Robot lizard
real
alien.
emotions. But if he creates the metaverse and he is the god of it and people end up flocking to it and living in it, he is now the guy. He's the guy that people want to be like, want to strive towards, want to make him happy.
Yeah.
And he now
Fucking-
has a family, has a friendship that he's never had.
Yeah. Elon and Jeff are going up like fucking losers. Mark is going in, man. He's like, I don't need to go to fucking space. I'm going to make space.
Yeah, honestly, he was like some of the stuff. Like I watched like a clip or so of like that announcement they came out with about it, and I was just like, man, this is weird.
Even when you
Right.
watch him talk.
Yeah.
It's-
He's so creepy.
It's somebody
Yeah.
that's reading a script for the very first time, but it like you can clearly tell they rehearsed it. Like it just doesn't seem real.
Transacting the human language for the
Yeah.
first time.
I was looking up pictures of him to find something for a thumbnail a couple weeks back, and I was like, man, every picture of him, he's so fucking creepy and pale, and I was just like, this guy's gross. So I took some pictures, like creepy ass eyes. That's gonna be the thumbnails, creepy ass
Yeah.
eyes. Go look out for that one.
That was the rebranding one, right? Before it actually launched, I think.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so funny.
Hey, bring your bad boy in. You're doing the Kyle. You're doing the
know,
Kyle.
What I've actually noticed is you're talking to us a lot and your mic's pointed that way. So I can hear your volume changing up and down.
Hey.
So if you're talking to us in the
You're
middle of a
welcome.
story, it's a little bit quieter. And then when you're done your story, you'll look at the camera and that's when it gets louder.
I can see the lips when you get over there.
Hey.
Yeah.
At least my mic wasn't on backwards.
Oh.
Mine wasn't on backwards this entire video.
Picture it didn't happen, right? I think that's all the time we got for today, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was a good one. Yeah, we'll kind of go from there. It would have been nice to go a little bit longer, but we fucked up too many times. I fucked up. But yeah, so if you've watched this far and you like what you're watching, give it a like, give it a subscribe. It really, really makes a difference. Anything that stands out to you, if you have any comments or anything like that, feel free to comment on anything. It would even be cool to have like some sort of weird catchphrase. So if anyone has any catchphrases,
Matt wants a catchphrase. Nice.
I mean, I like something that I've seen on like other subscribers or other podcasts is like whoever has the most trending catchphrase, that's what we say that week. And it just increases engagement, man.
Yeah, I even saw like with the Are You Garbage guys, like we always talk about, he was saying like the regular listeners, they all refer to them as the bozos, like everybody's the team. But he's like, but those Patreon subscribers, those are the homies. So they have their own name, and immediately I heard it, I was like, fuck, that's $10 I gotta pay.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a homie. I don't want to be
Yeah.
a bozo.
If you want to be one of our homies, sign on to our Patreon. We have exclusive content and
And speaking of
early access.
the commenting you were talking about, through the Patreon, we are going to be putting in our Discord. So then there'll be an
it's
area
already there,
for-
baby. They just got to pay for it.
Well, if you want in, this is a way to have you'll have access to our conversations about the podcast and be able to kind of put yourself into our shoes of when we're thinking of different ideas. If you're seeing something you want to see our take on it, just throw it in there, throw it at us. We'll probably spit out pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Anything you want, we'll
Yeah,
do.
Joining
You
the
heard
Discord.
what I do for Jake and
recommended
Logan Paul. I'll do even more for you guys.
Recommended stories. That'd be fun.
Yeah. I think joining the Discord would make a pretty big difference. If someone wants to actually be a part of the show, I think the best way would be joining the Discord, getting on the chat, and just seeing what it's all about.
Hey.
Other than that, that's about all we got today. So
It's been real.
Take care.
Enjoy.
Deuce.